Without understanding the meaning of the word sin, you simply cannot understand Christianity and the Bible. Many people understand the word sin to mean the breaking of one of God's laws. For example, in the Ten Commandments, one of them is, Thou shalt not steal. And so a person who steals something is sinning against God because they've broken his law. But that might cause us to ponder, what is it about stealing that prompted God to make a law against it in the first place? Why? What is the rationale for the laws of God? Other people understand the word sin to refer to the breaking of some religious taboo. In other words, it is a peculiarly religious problem. When I was a child, I was taught that it was a sin to eat meat on Friday. That would be breaking a taboo. There's nothing moral about that law. It's just a religious taboo. And sin itself is a very religious word. It's one that, unless you are involved in a religious discussion, you probably would hardly ever use that word. And even then, the meaning of it might remain obscure. Now, we get closer to the meaning of the word sin when we understand that you can sin not only against God, you can sin against other people. And I would suggest to you that the root of both of those problems is that whenever we sin, we break a relational obligation. Every relationship that you are involved in carries obligations. Some of your relationships are family. You may be the parent of a son or a daughter, or you may be the child of a parent, or you may have brothers and sisters, and all of those family relationships come with obligations so that you can be the family person that you ought to be. Other relationships carry us outside the home to the workplace, where you have relationships with people there too, whether you are working underneath the authority and the supervision of some other person, or whether you happen to be the person in a supervisory role. You have a relationship with your coworkers. You would have yet another relationship with your neighbor or with the governing authorities. With every person that you meet, there are obligations and there's a different relationship that needs to be fulfilled. We understand that God has created you and God has created every other person. We all belong to God. And therefore, when we fail the obligations in our relationships, we are hurting some other person. And since those people that we hurt belong to God, God is deeply involved with that. When we sin against people, it's really a sin against God Himself as well. And so sin then is the breaking of a relational obligation. And it is such a very big matter in Scripture, in the Bible, and in Christianity that God punishes sin in very strong ways. And He's very upset and angry when people sin against each other or sin against Him. But at the bottom of this is not just the God who gets angry when people do things that are wrong. At the bottom is a God who is so concerned about relationships working and bringing benefit to people that He stands there angrily when things go wrong. And that is what sin is all about.